Man, this move right here got the entire Ravens fanbase buzzing. The front office just pulled the trigger on a deal for Draymond Jones, and honestly, it feels like the kind of mid-season spark this defense has been waiting for. Jones is one of those guys who doesn't always make the headlines, but when you look at the tape, he's been wrecking backfields lately. 4.5 sacks in his last 4 games. That's not luck. That's a player heating up at exactly the right time. 1 sack against the Raiders, another against the Patriots. Then he gets to the quarterback again versus the Colts and Chargers. Every week, this guy has been bringing pressure, showing up when it matters, and Tennessee fans definitely took notice of how hard he's been playing down the stretch. And the thing is, Jones isn't just a one-dimensional pass rusher. He's got that rare inside-outside versatility that makes defensive coordinators drool. Early in his career, he played primarily inside, holding his own against the guards and centers. But as he's developed, he's found ways to move outside, attacking tackles, and giving you that edge presence. For Baltimore, that's huge, because this defense has struggled badly when it comes to winning one-on-one matchups up front. You can blitz all day, but at some point, you need guys who can simply beat their man without needing extra help. Draymond Jones can do that. The Ravens have been one of the lowest-graded teams this year when rushing just 4, which has forced them to dial up pressure packages more than they'd probably like. Bringing in Jones gives them a little more freedom. He's strong enough to handle the run, explosive enough to pressure the quarterback, and experienced enough to know how to create disruption even when the blitz isn't coming. Sure, he'll make a mistake here or there against the run, maybe over-pursue a play or get sealed off on a stretch, but that's something you can live with when he's giving you consistent pressure on 3rd down. And let's not forget Carl Lawson. John Harbaugh said earlier this week that Lawson's looking ready to roll, and if both those guys hit the field together, it could finally give Baltimore that balance it's been missing up front. Imagine lining up both Jones and Lawson on the edges, 2 players who can legitimately win one-on-one. That's been a rare sight for this team in recent seasons. When you can just line up 4 and let them go to work, that opens up the playbook in a completely different way. It's less stress on the secondary, more flexibility for your linebackers, and most importantly, it means you can start dictating tempo again instead of constantly reacting. Now, the trade itself didn't break the bank. Baltimore only gave up a 5th-round pick that could become a 4th depending on performance escalators. That's smart business. It's a low-risk, high-reward deal that gives you an instant contributor without locking you into anything long-term. Jones is on an expiring contract, and the cap hit for the rest of the season is just under $1 million, pocket change in NFL terms. You're not stuck with his salary next year, and you get to see firsthand whether he fits this defense before making any decisions down the line. That's the definition of a smart front office move. Let's put this into perspective. Draymond Jones is in his 7th NFL season. He spent time in Denver, Seattle, and most recently Tennessee. Over his career, he's tallied 35 sacks and has never had a season under 3.5. That's impressive consistency for any defensive lineman. His best years came in 2020 and 2022, when he racked up 6.5 sacks each time. That's not superstar production, but it's rock solid. And when you add that kind of steady pressure to a Ravens front that's been looking for answers, it makes a lot of sense. He's 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighs around 280 pounds, and has trimmed down a bit as he's transitioned to playing more on the edge. He's quick for his size, with the kind of power that can collapse the pocket and force quarterbacks into bad throws. When he hit free agency, Seattle actually gave him a massive deal, 3 years for over $51 million. That tells you what kind of player the league thinks he can be when used the right way. Things didn't pan out long-term with the Seahawks, and he ended up in Tennessee on a 1-year, $8.5 million deal, which turned into a perfect audition for Baltimore. Now, he steps into a locker room that's fighting to regain its defensive identity and push for another postseason run. It's a win-win. The Ravens get a motivated veteran looking to prove himself again, and Jones gets a chance to compete on a playoff-caliber team after spending this year with a struggling Titans squad. Baltimore's defensive line has been thin this season, and this move immediately helps fix that. With injuries piling up and depth becoming an issue, adding a player who can fill multiple roles is massive. You can use Jones as an edge rusher on early downs, and then slide him inside on 3rd down to create mismatches against slower guards. He's basically 2 roster spots in one, and that flexibility helps balance out the rotation. It also takes some pressure off younger guys who've been asked to play more snaps than expected. Now, players like Mike Green can focus more on pure pass rush situations rather than being overextended. This isn't just about stats, it's about presence. Jones brings a level of physicality and experience that commands respect. You can feel his impact even when he doesn't get the sack, pushing the pocket, forcing quarterbacks to move, and helping teammates clean up plays. That's the kind of subtle contribution that makes defenses better across the board. And right now, the Ravens needed that badly. Too often this season, opposing quarterbacks have been way too comfortable, standing tall with clean pockets and plenty of time. Draymond Jones helps change that equation. Now, let's be real. This can't be the only move Baltimore makes. It's a strong start, but it has to be part of a larger plan. You can call it a starter move, the kind of deal that gets things rolling before the deadline chaos hits. The Ravens still need help at other positions, maybe another pass rusher or someone who can rotate in the interior. But as a first step, this is a statement that the team isn't sitting still. They're being proactive, addressing a weakness that's been killing them in close games. What I also love about this pickup is the mentality it brings. Draymond Jones isn't walking into Baltimore expecting to be a savior. He's coming in ready to earn it, to prove that he can be the missing piece that helps this defense rediscover its bite. You can see how players like that fit perfectly in John Harbaugh's system. Tough, adaptable, and willing to do the dirty work. He's not the kind of guy you drop into coverage or ask to play finesse football. He's there to attack, to set the tone physically, and to bring a little nastiness back to that front seven. And the timing of it couldn't be better. The Ravens' schedule down the stretch is manageable, and they're right in the thick of the playoff picture. Adding someone with Jones's experience and drive could be the spark that steadies this team. Plus, when you think about it, he's stepping into a defense that already has some strong personalities, players who love competition and respond to energy. You bring in a guy who's hungry, who's been producing recently, and who knows how to grind, and it lifts the entire unit. If you look back at his journey, it's kind of wild. He spent his first 4 years in Denver, showing flashes of being a breakout player before signing that big deal in Seattle. Things didn't work out there, but he didn't sulk. He hit the reset button in Tennessee, turned his game around, and earned this shot with Baltimore. That kind of resilience says a lot about who he is. He's not just another veteran bouncing around teams. He's a guy who keeps finding ways to contribute and improve. So, yeah, this move makes sense on every level. It's affordable, it fills a need, and it brings in a proven player who's trending in the right direction. The Ravens get stronger in the trenches, and Draymond Jones gets a chance to remind everyone why teams once fought over him in free agency. For Baltimore fans, it's one more reason to believe that the front office is serious about making a push. The defense just got tougher, the locker room got deeper, and suddenly, that playoff chase feels a little more real. The trade for Draymond Jones wasn't the only headline coming out of Baltimore this week. The Ravens also made a bold decision by moving on from Jer Alexander, sending him to Philadelphia in a deal that surprised a lot of people. When the news broke, most fans had that double-take moment, like, wait, Jer's gone. But when you really step back and look at the situation, it actually makes more sense than it might seem at first. Baltimore wasn't using him. He wasn't fitting into the current rotation, and with the trade deadline approaching, the front office had to make a choice between holding on to a name or opening up some flexibility for the rest of the season. Alexander's story this year was frustrating from the jump. Coming off an injury that lingered through training camp, he never really found his rhythm. The Ravens kept saying he was working back into shape, but weeks kept passing and he wasn't seeing the field. Then, when he did finally get snaps, things went sideways. That Buffalo game, for instance, was rough. A couple of plays in coverage stuck out, and from there it just felt like his confidence never caught up to his ability. It wasn't that the talent wasn't there, it was more about timing, health, and the team's direction. Baltimore's secondary started solidifying without him, and before long, he became the odd man out. So, when the Eagles called, it was an opportunity that worked for everyone. Philadelphia gets a proven corner who can help them gear up for another playoff push, and the Ravens get cap space, draft capital, and an open roster spot to make moves of their own. They saved around $1 million in cap room with the trade. Not a huge number, but when you're managing contracts mid-season, every bit counts. More importantly, it frees Baltimore to be active over the next stretch of the season. They now have the breathing room to add depth where they need it most, whether that's on the defensive line, offensive line, or even at linebacker. What also stands out is how the organization handled the situation. The Ravens have built a reputation around doing right by players, even when it means parting ways with talented guys. Alexander wanted to play. He wasn't happy sitting as a healthy scratch week after week. Instead of keeping him around just for depth, they let him go to a contender that would actually use him. That matters. Players talk around the league, and when free agents see how Baltimore treats its veterans, it helps build trust. It shows that this front office values people, not just production. And in a business as cutthroat as the NFL, that goes a long way. Now, losing Alexander might sting for fans who remember what he was at his best. In Green Bay, he was an all-pro level corner, fast, physical, with that swagger you love in a defensive back. But the truth is, he hadn't been that guy in a while. Between injuries and scheme fits, he just couldn't find his place here. Moving him gives Baltimore a chance to reset at that position. They've got younger corners who've been stepping up, and if they decide to bring in another defensive back before the deadline, now they've got the flexibility to do it. It's not about giving up on talent. It's about reallocating resources to areas that need immediate help. From a front office standpoint, this move also strengthens the Ravens' position heading into the offseason. They've got roughly $15 million in space now, which is more than they've had in years at this point of the season. Combine that with a healthy stash of draft picks, around 8 tradable ones right now, plus potential compensatory picks coming later, and Baltimore suddenly has some serious leverage. They don't need to panic or overpay. They can sit back, evaluate what the rest of the league is offering, and strike when the right deal comes along. There's also a personal side to this story that's easy to overlook. Jer Alexander needed this change. He's still young, still capable, and now he's got a shot to prove himself again with the Eagles. If he can stay healthy, Philadelphia might have pulled off a sneaky good deal. For Jer, it's a chance to get on the field, put some new tape out there, and rebuild his market value before free agency. And for Baltimore, it's another example of how timing and context matter just as much as talent. But let's shift back to what all this means for the Ravens going forward. These moves, both Jones coming in and Alexander going out, signal a team that's adjusting on the fly. They're not content with just staying competitive. They're reshaping the roster to make a real push. You look at the AFC right now. Every top team is trying to load up before the stretch run. The Ravens know that if they want to keep pace with the likes of Kansas City or Buffalo, they've got to tighten up their defense and get consistent pressure on quarterbacks. Adding Draymond Jones helps accomplish that. Moving Alexander frees up the resources to support it. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL world, star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins has officially bid farewell to the Baltimore Ravens, leaving fans both heartbroken and buzzing with speculation. The veteran, whose impact on the field was only rivaled by his charisma off it, shared a heartfelt message on social media that read simply, "Thank you, Baltimore." The post, accompanied by a montage of his most electrifying catches, instantly went viral, sparking a frenzy of rumors about where his career might head next. Sources close to the team suggest that Hopkins' departure was anything but a quiet transition. Behind closed doors, whispers indicate that the Ravens' front office may have been weighing cap space and roster strategy, but for Hopkins, the decision seems deeply personal. Insiders hint that the receiver is eyeing teams that not only offer championship potential, but also a system that plays to his unrivaled route running and deep threat abilities. Some suggest that franchises in need of an immediate offensive spark, such as the Arizona Cardinals or Dallas Cowboys, could be at the top of his list, though nothing is confirmed. Fans have flooded social media with reactions ranging from disbelief to nostalgia. "Baltimore will never be the same without Hopkins," one fan tweeted, while others speculated that the 29-year-old still has a few prime seasons left and could be looking for a Super Bowl contender to finish his career. Meanwhile, sports analysts are dissecting every possible clue in his farewell message: the font, the timing, even the choice of images, searching for a hint of his next destination. The Ravens themselves have remained characteristically tight-lipped, offering a brief statement of gratitude and wishing Hopkins success in the future. Yet the sense of inevitability is palpable, A new chapter is imminent, and the league is holding its breath. One thing is certain, wherever Hopkins lands, the buzz surrounding his arrival will be deafening, and his next team will inherit not just a phenomenal talent, but a player whose presence alone electrifies stadiums. As Baltimore watches their star depart, the NFL rumor mill is already running at full speed. Speculation is the only certainty, and every insider tip, every cryptic tweet, and every whisper in the locker room is being analyzed as potential confirmation of Hopkins' next stop. Will it be a team ready to chase the ultimate prize, or a franchise hungry for a transformative superstar? The countdown has begun, and the football world is waiting with bated breath. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.